Welcome to our 100th show of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to Bethel Park TV, Aaron Ward, Devin Shea's missing in action, Matt Harkins, John the intern's here. Look at that, he cut my head off.
That's photobomb John.
We got a special treat, guys. My daughter Casey made some cupcakes. And we have them here. You guys can pick any one you want. This is in honor of our 100th show. Little Z. I don't know if you can see Little Z's here in memory. There's this photo by the great artist Tempe Moore. So we'll dive into these cupcakes there.
In a little bit, and I'll have to eat Little Z's. He gave me permission.
Well, I don't know about that.
Give me that white with black on top.
All right. I had these specially made for you. Look at that. John, do you get that, buddy? Where's he at on the camera?
With the logo.
Yeah, that's the logo.
I got to take the one with the chocolate chip.
That's why it was made. What do you think? I didn't tell my daughter we got to have a chocolate chip, and I got to have one of these white ones here too, so, with the logo. She said the logo may not be that sweet.
What's your daughter's name again?
Casey.
Casey, thank you very much.
Thanks,
we greatly appreciate your baking prowess.
You've only tasted. You'll get the sample here. You can taste it. They're
I don't want to be
great.
spitting crumbs all over the room.
Well, that's all right. I'll let you do that. That'll slow you down with all the bucko talk. But hey, it's a great day in sports. It's a great weather day. When do you see a clear sky? So I think after the Pirates just broke through, it cleared everything out. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner and Smoking Jim Frazier. Little Z, he's still doing that master plumber certificate that he's going to bring in here. So there he is looking at us. You can see him on the show right now, and we're going to kick it off with what's on our mind. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
I'm eating cupcakes.
you
Forget
got
the
to
green.
see Levine. And congratulations, Lil Z, going for your plumber's degree. I printed my copy off online. But hey, just wanted to make an announcement that on the way over here, I got a phone call from PNCN. Championship Chase, so I'll be back on the show this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yay!
They'll be showing it, so excited about that. Yeah, I'm going back on, so
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Congratulations, Jim.
It was a great, but what's on my mind is City League football. I was at the City League game to see a friend of the show, Jordan Mabin, who's the team captain of Brashear, and they were playing high-flying UPrep, University Prep. In the first quarter, Jordan Mabin, two-way, 300-pound tackle, was playing like a man possessed, shut out UPrep throughout the first quarter. The last play of the first quarter, Jordan Mabin got a high ankle sprain.
Wow.
And he limped off the field because they weren't carrying him. And so he was out for the rest of the game. And University Prep 2 plays later scored a touchdown. And then they didn't stop until they hit 51 points, 51-6. So, and so that's what's on my mind. It was a great game in City League. And the quarterback for UPrep is not only the number one passer in City League, he's the number one passer in the WPIAL and in the state. He has, through 4 games, he has 1,700 passing yards.
Woo.
And he's the second, his 530 yards 2 weeks ago against Carrick was the second greatest passing feat of all time in the state of Pennsylvania history.
Do they even have a running attack?
Do they need one? They
I
don't.
don't think so. So
that
that's what's
just
on my
dispels
mind.
that myth that you have to run the ball effectively to do well, huh?
Well, thanks, Smoking Jim. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir.
And you gave us a little extra fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
There
A
you
little
go.
preview of some other stuff. Thank you. Now we'll go to Chip the Prophet Hayner. What's on your mind?
Well, let's see here.
I can't figure it out.
2013 postseason. Far be it from me to toot my own horn, but toot. Predicted last February at the beginning of spring training that the Pirates were going to see the postseason this year. And last night they wrapped up, at the very least, the play-in wild card game. And, I'm kind of glad that they've got that monkey off their back, because now we've got 5 games left this year. And, we've actually got a chance to win the division. And the players and the management are focused on that goal. And, all we have to do is just take care of the things that we can control. We don't have to worry about what anybody else does. We won a pretty amazing game last night against the Chicago Cubs to do our part of dropping our magic number to 1, and the Nationals lost and dropped the magic number to 0. But, the great thing about the way the game ended last night was when the Pirates' playoff streak ended 21 years ago. It ended by Sid Bream not being thrown out by lollipop-armed Barry Bonds because, he couldn't throw him out at home plate. And to win the game last night, Marlon Byrd bobbled the ball. Andrew McCutchen, doing the thing that all good fielders should do, is backing up the person behind him, brought the ball, overthrew 2 cutoff men, but Justin Morneau happened to be in the right place at the right time, threw the runner out, and Russell Martin held on and tagged the runner out. Game ended that way. So that's exciting. And you know what? The Pirates celebrated last night, and there's been some criticism as to well, they really haven't done anything. Why are they celebrating? Well, you know what? The Pittsburgh Pirates and the city of Pittsburgh and the fans of the Pittsburgh Pirates have suffered for 20 years. We've been the laughing stock of Major League Baseball and professional sports. I got up this morning and did a little happy dance myself. But here's what the thing is.
We don't want details of that.
Here's what the thing is. The Pirates have every right in the world to celebrate because what they've done is they've got that monkey off their back of being the perennial losers. So now, we can start focusing on the Pittsburgh Pirates and baseball and what they need to do to win moving forward. And so hanging over their head is the fact that, oh, geez, and when are they going to collapse? They're not going to make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Well, now it's all over and done with. We've got 5 games left. We can focus on winning these 5 games, and, we'll see how the chips fall.
How apropos, Chip.
Right?
Eat your chocolate chip.
We could end up tied with, we could end up, in first place in the division. We could end up second. We could end up third. And so could either St. Louis or Cincinnati. And, it's very apropos that we finished the season in Cincinnati because, they have been kind of like our nemesis the last couple of years. They've been like the bully on the block that's been beating us up. And wouldn't it be fitting to sweep them 3 games this weekend and get us right into winning the division? But, either way, whether they just make the wild card playoff and get no further, this has been a really tremendous season for Pittsburgh Pirates and Pirate fans. Watching the city of Pittsburgh fall back in love with the Pittsburgh Pirates over the course of this season has really been tremendous. I had the pleasure of being there for 25 home games this year and enjoyed every minute of it. And I do want to give a shout out to the season ticket holders in my section 316. A lot of really great people.
John 316.
A lot of great people I met up there. Made a lot of new friends this year. And a special shout out to our usher. And John, you're going to have to excuse me. I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce your name. His name's John, and his first initial of his last name is S. But I want to tell you something about the way he does his job. He is the best usher I have ever seen. He makes you feel welcome every time you come, treats you with respect, enjoys the game with you, and
nice.
Every time I walk into the stadium, the first thing he does is he pushes me out of the way and he goes and hugs my wife. Now that's a smart man.
Wow.
But John, you do a great job. It shows that you love your job, and you know what? The Pittsburgh Pirates treat the fans with a lot of respect, and they're welcome to have you. And I've enjoyed my experience all year. And last but not least, my playoff tickets came in the mail today. Wow. I have tickets for the World Series sitting on my dining room table, so if the Pirates make it, I'm already there.
When's the parade?
After they win.
No parade. Hey, it's been traditional. I've bet a lot of guys over the years. And yeah, this is my dollar for people that know me. It's not my first dollar, but it's now Chip's dollar.
And yeah, and I say thank you because last year, not that I have any problem paying up on bets, but paying off that bet last year after the collapse was quite painful. And
I'm not even mentioning
this bet sweet, but thank you, Alan.
You're welcome. I'm not even mentioning last year's debacle. I just did.
It's history.
Yeah, it's over with. And one of the nice things is we've all been reminiscing about Pirates in the past, and I have a lot of fond memories of games and championship games, and we are family and everything else. So it's more enjoyable. This pennant race, you have to teach a lot of people about actually, magic numbers and how it works out. And last night you saw the perfect example with two games that they needed. They win one, and what happened? St. Louis was winning, so I heard a lot of people, well, should St. Louis win or should the Nats win? You're better off how it worked out last night. And that was poetic justice for how it worked out, especially the play. And what I thought was ironic is Melanson is the originator of the Shark Tank. He come in and he blew another save, but he was smart enough to get out of there in time. He ended up being the winning pitcher because it was grilled cheese time. So that was like a great way to bring it all to fruition there that, the guy who founded the Shark Tank got the win. Really got the save, and the rest is history. And as far as this, I'm not going to revisit. I'm just going to talk about it. After you lose for the longest time in any sport, why wouldn't you celebrate? If people were worried about people acting like kids, this is a kid's game. This isn't an adult game. This is a child's game that you start playing at 4, 5, 6 years old. If they want to act like kids and drink champagne, I don't know any kids drinking the champagne. At least I hope they're not in the community. They had so much fun, but I didn't appreciate all the goggles they had. And what was funny, when Jay Hay was talking about his goggles were science lab goggles with holes in it, he still got wet and he couldn't see. So those were part of the things that go on. So I'm just glad I'm on the Bucko bandwagon. Chip gave me the Kool-Aid, so I drank that early in the year. There's still room on that Bucko bandwagon. And we'll see what happens at the end of the season. If they're right with Hurdle gets the 95th win, means they got to win out. So I'm hopeful they can do it. Will they? Who knows? That's why they play 162. And that's my little what's on my mind. Now, I got a call yesterday from Claudio Rosano, our almost regular guest. He has a seat that's waiting for him every Monday night. Claudio, we expect to see you next Monday. So we were talking about the Buccos, and we're reminiscing about some guys, and I want to show you a guy. This was one of my favorite players, Al Scoops Oliver. John, I don't know if you can get a picture of this one.
Yeah.
Excellent. There's an excellent. Look at this. Well, Chip Hayner pulled this out of the archives that his dad saved. It's in pristine condition. I did wipe my fingers. Casey, the cupcake was delicious.
Yes, it was.
I enjoyed it. Smoking Jim just co-signed it, and Chip's about ready to dig in. I'll keep chatting. But anyhow, with Al Oliver here, Claudio said, send an email to Al Oliver and the number 4, HOF, @gmail. And what you should do is, if you had a fond memory of Al Oliver and all his hits and everything else, put something in the email, and then also say he should be in the Hall of Fame. He does have a lot of great stats. I can read them from here, but you'll hear more about it. Smokin' Jim just informed us that you got to stay tuned to Luther Dupree's and his show. Smokin' Jim's on there and all the guys. Steel City Sports World is going to have Al Oliver on the show. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, there you go. So now I know why Claudio set me up. Claudio, that was pretty slick. Thanks for not telling me that. But we do have a lot of fans that watch both shows, and we hear about it all the time. We're seen everywhere on Verizon 32, and of course Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. So we appreciate all the hits. We're now at 707, Smokin' Jim.
Nice.
I like that.
So
That's
Mayor
nice.
Addison, shout out to him. He said he'd get us over 700, and he
did.
pushed us all the way through. Thanks to Felicia Ann for all the help she's done to get us on our way to 1,000. Bill Boyce put up some great photos of everybody. Chip, I'm going to give you this photo before I squeeze that too much.
Well, you know, the funny thing about this is that I had no idea that Al Oliver was going to be a guest on Steel City
You didn't
Sports.
know?
This isn't scripted.
And I had no idea that Edwards Claudio had spoken to
These cards are
to Jim
done.
about him, and I found these in an archives. My
like
sister brought it to me on Sunday, and I was telling Alan about this last night, and he said, he goes, bring them in. I'd like to see him. He, you know, he loves.
And I did see him.
And those are those photos. I have a whole collection of photos there from the '71 Pirates, and you know, it's true. It's very near and dear to my heart because I was 11 years old when the Pirates won that World Championship, and I remember it very well.
Well, those are
What,
good
70,
memories.
the 79?
71.
71, wow.
Yeah, I remember that even a little better. I was 15 at that time.
79?
71. You know what? That general studies course, I want to see that degree.
Yeah, he did.
I want to see the degree on that one because math isn't your forte. And I don't mean running back, that forte. All right? I know you're a football guy. Now, I don't even think we're going to revisit because we covered and walked over each other's stuff here. So we're just going to move on to Sip Sports Bar. And it was a great show last night. We inducted another Hall of Fame member. Zach, Little Z Brenner, TVZ, who has a special little graphic on the show. Check out the video. I posted it. It's everywhere now, as you guys know. Chip, you can even look at it. I put it on your page now, too.
All right.
So you could have some of it. But Little Z was honored with being inducted at Sip Sports Bar by Smokin' Jim Frazier. And there's a lot of criteria that goes into it. Some people, you assume that they're going to get in, but they have to work at it, Chip, and that's part of the problem. A few of them haven't worked hard enough yet.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying. You know, you got to put in the work.
yeah, so that's part of what we're doing. Sunday night at Sips, you got trivia time at Sips Sports Bar. Then on Monday night, it's Pittsburgh Sportsline. You got to meet Brandy, Kelly, and the Kamikaze Kid was there. We actually had him on the show for almost 3 minutes. So that's a new record for the Kamikaze Kid. He was talking basketball, football, something like that.
It was a football game with a basketball score.
Right. And then Tuesday nights, shout out to Don Campiti. I was talking to him last night before he left, and he just loves the show. And he keeps catching me cutting grass, and there's this guy in this white car beeping at me all the time. Here, it's Don Campiti. So, Mrs. Campiti, keep him under control a little bit, please. And Chief, thanks for watching the show and being one of our biggest fans who shows up all the time. He was under the weather. He didn't drink that green tea I talk about. Wednesday night is one of the most popular nights at Sips. Smokin' Jim Frazier's $1 ladies' night drinks. And then Smokin' Jim couldn't make it for Thursday night, which is 25-cent wings. I had to show up. And I tried to eat a couple dozen wings. It was a little difficult, but I did my best, Smokin' Jim. And it was a great crowd there and everything else for Thursday night football. Friday they have entertainment. Same with Saturday. You can park for free after 4 o'clock on one side of the street. And then at 7 you can park on the other side. It's a great place. We're getting a lot of people to come out. We've had over 130 guests. Speaking of guests, Smokin' Jim gave an intro to Esther Nunez 2 different times. Then we had Calm Long on there, and she's I love kickboxing. Hold on a second. You know how I operate. Whoa, I got a towel. They gave me their towel. Esther loves the place. She said it's a great way to start. It's right in Baldwin here on Curry, 501 Curry. And they were great. We also had, I'm trying to think, we had Mayor Addison Brenner. Yes, that's Little Z's younger brother. He was surprised that I put him on the show. He was unprepared, but he handled it very well.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
and
did.
He's got a guest hosting job coming back. He's not going to sit. What happened to Little Z?
I think he flew.
Oh, man, Little Z was on the set. Now he's gone. We got to get that because that's a great picture of him.
Yes,
and that's Sip Sports Bar, folks. That was it. Come on out there every Monday night, 7:30 to 8:30. We're filming. We got a great lineup of guests for next week. You'll see that on Pittsburgh Sportsline as we start posting who's coming up there. But we got a lot of great people. And now we go to one of my 2 favorite segments here, Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I appreciate it. I tell you what, I'm going to go real back in the day. I tell you what, I had to take little notes on this one, man. And I tell you what, man, I was upset years ago,
How many?
back in the late 90s, early 2000s, because all these so-called experts, Chip, were talking about rivalries, and they weren't mentioning Pitt and Penn State. So I decided, being that I'm a traveling man, I've been to every stadium in the country, college football stadium that has football. So I decided to start going and taking in different rivalry games. And so in 2001, I decided to take in a rivalry game that most people don't realize is a rivalry. It's TCU versus SMU. And the main reason that I went there is because at halftime they were retiring the number 19 jersey of Eric Dickerson.
Okay.
Wow.
So I got to
Pony
the game.
Express.
Yeah, Pony Express, and the game is built as the Iron Skillet game because the TCU nickname is the Horn Frogs, and so the SMU fans in the parking lot fry up frog legs.
Wow.
In a little bit of disrespect. Boy, they're good though. I was eating them bad boys. They taste good. Taste like chicken. But
Very good.
So
I've had them myself, smoking, Jim.
so I'm sitting in the stadium watching the game, and I'm seeing this number 5 for TCU just tearing it up. And I said to myself, wow, this is the best running back I've seen since Emmitt Smith.
Wow.
And at halftime, when they retired Eric Dickerson's jersey, I says, he's not the best running back in the stadium. So I've been promoting this guy. And then finally, later on that year, in my Smoking Jim's draft report.
Whoa. It come out, folks. It finally come out, that
Yeah,
book.
this is 2001. This is old time, but I had him as the number 1 running back, LaDainian Tomlinson, that day.
LT, yes, sir.
LT. I says he would be great. Of course, I had him number 1. But I have a bonus.
Fiction and fact.
Fiction and fact. As you know, you guys heard of Texas A&M.
Yes, sir.
Recently.
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Texas A&M Kingsville?
No.
No, sir.
Well, Texas A&M Kingsville, I'm happening to be watching this. I went to the Steeler game, as you did, Chip.
Mm-hmm.
But I always tape the game and go back and watch it for good comedy. And
How'd that work out?
and so now they rarely do announce the starting lineups and let them, but on the Sunday night and Monday night games, I guess they do it. So I'm sitting there watching the game, and Chicago Bears starting center said he's from Texas A&M Kingsville, and I'm like, holy heck, and I run it back. I didn't even know he was still on the team.
Really?
Yeah, I know he's on the team. And just name me a few players from there. You heard of Darryl Green. He played there.
Yep. Fastest man in football.
John Randall, another Hall of
Yes,
Famer,
sir.
played there.
Minnesota Vikings.
Gene Upshaw played there.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, who happens to be in 2001, I took a lot of heat. He's probably one of the few players still in the league from 2001 that's still in the league playing National Football League football, is Robert Garza, who was my number 1 rated center from tiny Texas A&M Gainesville.
Wow.
Everybody laughed about it. He's still playing and starting for the Chicago Bears, and he was an outstanding player, and that's only a Division II school. So that's the reason why I keep getting invited back to the Steelers, because
I thought it was because of your good looks.
you may laugh at my rating system, but a few years down the line, don't nobody laugh about it, when they start kicking butt on the field. So that's my fiction and fact.
There you have it, folks. That was
Good job, man. Good
great.
job.
Thanks, Jim.
And he did it after crushing that cupcake.
And
Did
you
you
know,
bite
that
a
was
finger?
good.
Now, and let me tell you something. That center for the Chicago Bears last Sunday night, well, I'll tell you what, Jay Cutler didn't get too many paws laid on him.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good point. Hello.
That's
I know
good.
Ben was under fire all night.
We'll talk about that in the Steelers segment, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And now we go to my other favorite time here. It's called Chip's Trivia Time.
Thank you, Alan. Just sticking with the baseball theme, And as I was going into the archives, I found something, and I've always told the story that I was at the 1974 All-Star Game at Three River Stadium, and there's the proof. Ticket in mint condition still. Yeah. And then look at that. The All-Star Game in 1974 played at Three River Stadium. The cost of the ticket was $10. And almost everybody on both rosters has ended up in the Hall of Fame. The list of Hall of Famers just is amazing. They go from Willie Mays to Hank Aaron to Willie McCollum. He was probably at the end of his career. He may have been playing for the New York Mets then. He may have left the San Francisco Giants. Yeah. But there's just it was a great thing for a young man. I was 13 years old. My father took myself and some other the guys that I played baseball with at the time. But it was a great memory, and it was one of the things about Three River Stadium that I didn't like that night that stayed true until the end. When you're up in the 600 section, there were portions of the field that you couldn't see, and I couldn't see whoever was playing left field. You had to stand up, run down the steps, and look over the railing.
I'll tell you a little bit. I was at that game with a few friends of mine at 18 years old there, so we had a great time.
Did y'all have a few?
We'll talk about that later.
But sticking with the baseball theme, going back and looking at things that happened on September 24th in Major League Baseball. A Hall of Famer named Jimmy Fox played for the Red Sox in the 30s and in the late 20s. Hit his 500th career home run on September 24th, 1940. And, this is way before they ever heard of juiced balls, juiced players, or anything like that. Also, if you, any of the baseball aficionados remember the magical year of 1969. The reason why 1969 was kind of magical because there was a team.
What year?
1969. Okay. The New York City at one point had 3 Major League Baseball teams. They had the Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Giants, and the Yankees. And the Giants and the Dodgers both moved west. And that left only the Yankees in the 5 boroughs. Well, in 1964, the New York Metropolitans came into existence, and Casey Stengel became their manager, and they immediately became the laughing stock of baseball and lost more games than any other team in baseball in 1964. Well, in 1969, something magical happened, and there was the emergence of the Amazing Mets. Wow. And the Amazing Mets were amazing for a number of different reasons, but some of the pitchers on that pitching staff that made a mark in Major League Baseball was Tom Seaver. Yeah. Nolan Ryan was a rookie, and he pitched on that baseball team. And the Amazing Mets 1969 came out of nowhere, shocked the world, and they won the World Series. Wow. So it was on this date in 1969 that the New York Mets clinched the National League East title. Also, 1974, another Hall of Famer that played for the Detroit Tigers, Al Kaline.
Oh, one of my favorites.
He joined the rarefied air of entering the 3,000 hit club. And, I don't think we're going to see very many people do that anymore because, baseball players' careers don't last that long. So
didn't he have 500 home runs, too?
I believe he may have,
yeah,
yes.
I thought he had 500 with that, too. So.
But, and also on this date in the year 2004, and I'm bringing this up because this is the team that the Pirates last played in the playoffs. And that was part of a streak that they had started that year that lasted for, is it 13 or 14 years? Let me check, Larry.
13, I think. Well, anyhow, that Sid Bream is gone. Yep. That memory, and he lives in the area, so shout out to Sid.
They won 13 National League East titles was the Atlanta Braves. Right. And they won their the 13th consecutive in 2004, and the reason they didn't win 14 in that time period was because in 1994 was the baseball strike. Okay, so there was no division winners that year. And at the Pirate game Saturday night, next to the last home game, I'm enjoying the game, and I ended up in my section were a group of guys that we met as the night goes on. They were sports writers. There was a guy that wrote a book about Honus Wagner, and he's the author of 25 separate sports books. And his name escapes me, but they told me that I can get in touch with them on Facebook through a thing that's called Pirate Chat. And I gave them my name and everything. But
let me know, because I like to read those books.
All at once?
As we're watching the game, me being the person that pays attention to the details,
right.
I noticed that A.J. Burnett started out the game with 191 strikeouts. Okay? So as the game went on, A.J. Burnett had a rough first 2 innings, but he started hitting his groove, and by the time he exited in the 7th inning, he had 12 strikeouts, and he ended up with 203 strikeouts for the season. The significant thing about that, the Pirates have been in existence, I believe, 128 or 129 years. There's been 3 pitchers in Pirates history that have had 200 strikeouts in a season.
Really?
A.J. Burnett is one. Bob Veal is another one, and he pitched predominantly in the 60s, but he did it more than one occasion. And the other one was Oliver Perez. In 2004, he had 239 strikeouts. So, that's a pretty amazing feat. And, of course, there was no fanfare, and they didn't stop the game or anything like that. But I'll tell you, when A.J. walked off the mound on Saturday night, he got a standing ovation, and and it was it's kind of bittersweet when you think A.J. Burnett doesn't have a contract after this year, and he's not sure if he's going to retire or if he's going to stay. And it's been said by Neil Huntington that he'll do whatever he has to do to sign him if he decides to play baseball next year. They want him here in Pittsburgh, and he says that if he does stay in baseball, but baseball's a business, and we'll see what they can work out. The other significant thing about the Pittsburgh Pirates pitching staff this year is they set a personal record for the strikeouts by the staff. And going into Saturday night's game, the Pirates had 1,163 strikeouts for the season. And with his 12, it took it up to 1,175, and that broke last year's record. And that just shows you what kind of a team that Neil Huntington has developed here, because you know what? You win baseball games with pitching and solid defense. And our minor league system and our major league staff is just loaded with healthy arms.
Well, there you go.
There you go. That's Chip's trivia for this week.
I got to add a little trivia to him that even is a little more crazier. Bob Veal had 276
Yes, sir.
strikeouts.
1969.
Right. And then the other thing is A.J. Burnett is the first right-hander in the whole history of the Pirates to ever go over 200, because Oliver Perez was a left-handed pitcher.
Really?
So those are such rare things that happen with the Pirates, especially in their long history. So that I find interesting. I just was backing up a little trivia time because I enjoy it, because I read that stuff all the time and more. And you see what I post on Facebook and everywhere else.
And it doesn't surprise me that you dug that up, because I teased Alan last night. I told him that I had some trivia that.
Well, no, I was going to bring
Pirates,
it up anyhow.
and the only clue I gave him last night was that it's only happened by 3 different people.
Here's the thing.
script.
I already posted that on Facebook. You missed some of my stuff because I put so many things out there. He was the first right-hander, so I scooped you, but I was quiet because you got your trivia time. I don't want to step on it, but yeah, I did scoop you. You can't. Some people can't keep up with that Pittsburgh Sportsline feed and the Al Levine feed that comes out every day. Chip's trying, and so are a lot of others.
I'll tell you what, I don't get to spend nearly as much time in front of a computer as Al does, but that's
well,
okay.
he can't. He can't. He's cutting grass, and I do it when I'm at home, so it's about exercising.
Z got you beat.
Yeah, it's a little exercise, and I'm doing it on a dumb phone. People keep calling me, and I can't answer them there. So, hey, I want to touch now on our Steelers segment here. There's so much angst in the city here about it. They're 0-3. They have to leave the country so they can get this winning thing going. So I'm hopeful in London they'll find that winning feeling there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Can they do it?
Well, I'll just go real quick. Steelers still going to go 10-6 and go to the playoffs. I really believe that. They're going to get it together. I think the one thing that you're going to begin to see is you got an experienced quarterback. And if you remember back when Mike Ditka coached the Chicago Bears, and he had a quarterback by the name of Jim McMahon.
I remember.
And Mike Ditka, when it was second and short, he'd run Walter Payton. When it was third and long, he'd run Walter Payton. Well, Jim McMahon would check off to a pass, and it would infuriate Mike Ditka, but they were winning games. And that's what Ben's going to have to do. He's going to just have to take over the team. He's going to have to basically be his own offensive coordinator. and he's going to have to put the team in the right position. If you see 7, 8 guys in the box, you got to throw. If you don't, you can run the football. And I think they go into Minnesota. I think Adrian Peterson again runs over William Gay. And I think
what about Timmons? Timmons got run over on the goal line.
I missed that. Did he?
How did you miss that? If he stops the guy, hit him on the 1 yard line.
I was wondering because they had him stopped. I was wondering who was that.
Hit him in the hole.
Wow.
And that's one of the best picks we've had. He hit him spot on. And if he had all that strength he had, all he had to do is wrap. He didn't wrap his arms.
Well, how many sacks does Jarvis Jones have?
Who?
Well,
exactly.
No, how many sacks do the Steelers have?
Who?
They have played 3 games. They have 3 sacks. And I am going to, I have nothing but respect for Jim and his opinion, but I'm going to make some comments here that I know he's going to absolutely take exception to, and then I know little Z is going to as well. And I
might too. Then, if you're
and
talking,
I have absolutely been driven crazy by all of the people calling for fire Todd Haley. Okay, now let me tell you something. There's a lot of things going wrong with the Steelers right now, and there are a lot of things that are going wrong with the Steelers right now that can be fixed. And for example, Sunday night's game, the reason why the Steelers lost that game was not Todd Haley. Okay, you think about it like this, Todd Haley isn't fumbling the ball. Todd Haley isn't throwing pick sixes. Now what has been the Steelers' biggest downfall? You think about it. They gave up 24 points on Sunday night as a direct result of turnovers. Mm-hmm. There was a fumble.
23 actually.
Okay. My point is, take 23 points off of their score, and we win the game. 23-17, which is about what you would expect out of the Steelers. They ran back a fumble for a 6. They ran back a pick 6. There was another interception where they only had a short field to go. So the Steelers need to stop turning the ball over, and also, everybody wants to fire Tomlin. They want to fire Todd Haley, and I've got nothing in the world but respect for Dick LeBeau, and he's one of the most revered defensive coordinators to ever play the game, Hall of Famer and everything. But you know what? Dick LeBeau's defense just simply isn't getting it done. I mean, one of the biggest problems that we've got right now is people are running the ball up the middle against the Steelers. And if you look at what happens when they go into third down, they're going into 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s. Subsequently, we're not getting any pressure on a quarterback because they don't have to, they can't cut the guys loose on them. We don't have a single turnover this year. Our turnover ratio is a -9. And, the Steelers' defense has always been predicated on sacking the quarterback, forcing turnovers, forcing, errant passes. But when the quarterback's back there and he's not getting touched, I'm sorry, these guys are pros, and they're going to complete passes, and they're going to move the ball down the field. So all the things that are going wrong with the Steelers right now are all things that can be fixed. I just think it's the horses that we have in the race that just aren't up to snuff.
Just like with LeBeau's defense, I think LeBeau's doing one of the best jobs that he's ever done for the simple reason you talked about horses. If it's on the offense, if they're not producing, he has them set up perfectly. He's actually blitzing, but they can't get in there. He's actually has them lined up. They're going to the hole. They can't tackle anybody. How come you can't wrap arms? I mean, that's another problem that I see. And now I'm not being critical because I predicted 11-5 because I know they have some talent. If you make it to the NFL, you might be the worst player in the world, but you're better than 90% of the other players out there.
Oh, there's no
so with that logic, if you have to teach these guys, then the coaches are remiss in what they're doing. If you have to show these guys how to play and get in position, then there's something wrong. And I blame the offensive coordinator because last year it started this disease where you don't have players performing like they should. That's how we ended up 8-8.
Well,
and they're not performing again. To me, if you can't coach them and teach them, then you got to promote them somehow to get them fired up to do something.
Here's the thing, and Jim watches a lot of high school football, okay, because he's scouting down. I started watching a lot of high school football last year, and I've been paying attention to the high school you see solid hitting. You see young men wrapping up people and tackling.
Yes,
okay,
we do.
You know, when you look into college football, and what do you see? You see track meets. Nobody plays defense. You know, I mean, somebody played? Their score was 76-0. At 76-0, was there a single time the other team's offense didn't score? You know what I mean? So then they're coming into the NFL, and now you got the players union that's protecting the players, and they're not allowed to hit in training camp. They're not allowed to hit in OTAs. So now you're getting guys out there that aren't practicing their craft. You know, and they think that, you know, if I just bump my shoulder into somebody, you're going to go down. You know, one of the points that you brought up when Lawrence Timmons got plowed over. You know, if you saw the drive and the desire in that running back to make it into the end zone, that's the reason why he got in there. Now, you look, I did see a couple of times out of Jonathan Dwyer this past week that he actually lowered his shoulder and tried to get the extra yard.
He had 3 plays in a row a couple times.
You don't normally see that. You don't normally see that.
Unbelievable.
You know, Jerome Bettis, when, you know, he was always moving forward, trying to get an extra quarter of an inch if he could. But you just don't see that desire in the running backs anymore. And then, of course, you know, there's this thing, you know, tapping at the top of his head after 3 plays. You know, I mean,
one play.
You know, so I mean,
I think it's a lot of it. You blame them all because look at the draft. How do you only have Smoking Jim's alluded to this as long as I've known him now, the last 2.5 years or so, or 2 years, that you don't have the players there. You only have 11 people that they've drafted on the team out of the last, 4 years, 5 years?
That's crazy.
That's shocking in itself. I couldn't believe that stat because I'm a stat man because a lot of these guys go by that. How does that happen?
Well, how does that happen? I think success breeds that. And I think the reason why that happens is you think about since the year 2000, okay, you know, the Steelers have had an inordinate amount of success. And they've drafted the lower end of the draft.
Chip, we're getting a call.
Wow.
Let's see what's going on here.
Okay, hold that. We'll continue that thought in a minute.
Well, yeah. Hello, welcome to our show.
Welcome to the show. I just wanted to wish you guys congratulations on the show.
Hold it, who is this?
Sounds like.
This is Little Z.
Hey, Little Z, the Hall of Famer.
How you doing with this?
We're doing great, Z. How's class going? You staying awake?
Yeah, I just got done taking the test. I got to get away for a second and make a call.
I know you got a 99 there for the beard, buddy. Fear the beard and the Master Plumber degree.
I just printed my Master Plumber.
To the Hall of Famer, that's what it's all about. Constantly trying to get better.
Hey, you're fading away. What are you talking on? You got that on speaker? Okay.
Campbell soup can and a string.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Hey, Lil Z,
Yes, sir.
I just downloaded my Master Plumber's degree off the internet. Thanks.
Hey, we have your photo up here or your drawing that Tempe Moore drew, and Smoking Jim just accidentally blew on it and it fell on the floor, buddy. I don't know what happened. Something with his golden quill. It knocked it over there. But hey, I'm glad you called in. We're eating cupcakes. I got a surprise for you. We're going to have more cupcakes on Monday's show at Sip Sports Bar because these cupcakes are going to go fast. We only have a dozen, buddy, and it's in honor of the show. You saw what they look like online, so.
Hey, Z, I brought out some new Pirates gear, the 2013 postseason gear that I just bought today. I'm representing well.
What, you got the Clint Hurdle version?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Extra large.
Hey, Z, while we got you here, what's on your mind while you got a couple minutes here?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind. I got a little upset here a little bit ago when I saw a post about the 2013 Pittsburgh Steelers fashion show. I feel like if we're canceling ping pong, tennis, and swimming, we might as well cancel the fashion show, too.
Yeah, but I think they're doing that for a good cause. Aren't they donating money or something? Or I'm not sure.
I know it's for charity, but
yeah, you can't disrespect the charity. A lot of people need that help here, but maybe they should focus a little more on blocking and tackling first.
That's what I'm saying. The fundamentals. It's time to get back to the basics. I heard Bill Cowher's charging it at Williams to get back to his own stuff.
No, I heard he doesn't want to come to the team at all. He doesn't want to come back. He got a good gig there, and he gets to look nice. He doesn't get beat up. He doesn't spit on anybody anymore. He's very happy.
He got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
He got a girlfriend. He's in music videos and such.
That's why we have little Z fill us in on all this technology here.
I'm sorry. I make these guys laugh too much. But listen, I'm going to get back in here before I get reprimanded. 6'1", 280 of myself. I will talk to you guys on Monday. Congratulations on the 100th show.
See you on Monday, Zach. Thanks.
All right. Go Steelers, too, buddy. Go Pitt. We got big games coming up here. And go Buccos. All right, Z.
We got big fights coming up, too.
October 12th. We didn't get into the promo yet, but we got that going on there, too. So I heard they need some tables and chairs there, my friend. We got to get something going for Rod there. Help him out.
Yeah, I got to do everything for these guys.
I saw that come up today, and I know you're busy, my man. Hey, you have a great night. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it on our 100th show. So you're now a part of this, little Z.
Hey, congratulations, you guys. And I look forward to getting back to my seat before Thanksgiving.
All right, you take care now.
You guys do the same.
Thanks.
All right,
Bye.
Sound like the phone was cutting his beard.
Yeah.
Well, that beard, there's a rumor that he's going to cut. Hold on, we got an announcement. That beard may get sheared on October 12th. Now, I don't think it's going to happen because he started growing that beard as Rod became a champion. So I think that beard will last for a long, long time because Rod's one heck of a fighter there, and he's going to defend his title, and he's going after another title too, some intercontinental title. So he'll get 2 belts that night when he wins.
Just to finish my thought
Let's get back to your thought there.
about the Steelers, and I said that the lack of people that they've gotten through the draft is I think a product of their success. They've been drafting in the lower half of the draft, and one of the things when you're drafting that low is you really can't afford to make mistakes. And Kevin Colbert's made a lot of good draft picks over the time that he's been there. But lately they have not. They've had more guys that really haven't. And I'll speak to one, and I know this was one of Tomlin's picks, but Jason Worlds.
Who is he?
That's exactly what I'm saying. He was supposed to be the next best thing, and he's getting supplanted by a rookie out of Georgia. You don't see him playing. It's unfortunate, but he hasn't panned out. But there's a lot of picks.
Worlds, like you said, Jason Worlds was a second-round pick.
Yep, drafted very high.
Michael Adams was a second-round pick.
Yep.
Marcus Gilbert was a second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Ziggy Hood was a first-round pick. Yeah. And even
Cameron
though he's playing,
Haywood,
Hayward was a first round, so you can't miss out on first and second round picks like that.
No, and you know what I mean. The Steelers needed to get
Jarvis Jones was a first round bust.
Who's he?
Well, he has
some of these players.
Jim, I know you predicted him to be a bust, but after 3 games, I don't really think that we can officially say that he's a bust at this point.
But he's going to his plan. He's going on his plan.
But you know what? He needs to play the game, and you know what? I'd say the jury's out on him still.
Well, they're not putting him in enough to keep playing. They keep taking him out. And I heard an interesting thing today, and I couldn't believe this, Smoking Jim. As you get new linebackers that come in and take over for the old linebackers, they have something where somebody will call the signals.
Yes, sir.
Now, people were asking about Timmons. Why isn't he calling the signals?
Right.
Well, they gave up some excuses on why he's not calling the signals that some of these new kids on the block are going to call the signals unless Timmons is the only linebacker in there. Then they even mentioned, which I thought was odd, you got Troy Polamalu, who's one of the greatest players ever.
Yeah.
And he's in shape this year.
Yeah.
And they mentioned how he's playing linebacker. Now, if you add 1 + 1 here, okay, we don't have all these linebackers. We got Troy in there. Wait a second, he's 5'9", because he used to be 5'10".
Right.
How can he be a linebacker except on pass rushing?
Right.
So, and we're not even getting through all the time.
That's true.
So it makes
good
me
point.
wonder.
No, and I'll tell you what, something happened in the preseason last year. I think directly impacted the quality of our linebacking play, and I think Mike Tomlin made a big mistake in playing Sean Spence in that last preseason game last year, because this kid, from everything I heard about him in the training camp,
Jim told me
they
that.
said he was a tackling machine.
Yeah.
And he came out of the University of Miami, and I don't think the young man's ever going to play football.
No, he won't.
And that's a shame, because that was what was he, a second or a third round pick?
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
and,
right.
and there's another person that we drafted that would have been playing. He would have
Yeah.
been starting this year, and
Yeah.
you know, and we may not have had the problems
He
that
would
we're
have
having
started
in
last
linebacks.
year if you
Yeah.
go to your
And
point.
you know, and,
Yeah.
you know, and that just makes me wonder. It's like, you know, why are you playing anybody in these preseason games, especially the fourth?
That's why the
game?
players' union stepped in on this.
Well, Derek Moore, he made the team because of preseason. So there's guys that make it, although he's not dressing, but
Which is
and
odd.
I hate to say this.
Do we need a big receiver?
Well, yeah, after
Man,
Plexico
you're hitting all the
Burris,
hot points here. I
after
can't take it
Plexico
anymore.
Burris went on the season-ending IR, you know, I mean, they needed a 6'5" wide receiver.
Good point.
Definitely. Well, those things happen. I think we beat up on the Steelers,
Yeah.
you know, because everybody's feeling that way. I mean, I predicted 11-5. I think I went down to 10-6 now. I mean, 9-7, something like that. I don't know where I'm going yet. I need to see a win.
You need to
So,
see the profit.
Well, I don't know if he. Well, I didn't hear him predict anything. I'm thinking he's predicting a losing season the way
you want
he's
to know
talking.
something, and I'm not going to predict anything because I looked into
smart.
the season. No, you know what? I looked into this season, and I was just like, there's just so many question marks. I mean, I couldn't say one way or the other. And what we're really going to find out now is, do we have? I've always trusted the system. We've always had great coaches. They've had a great process, and they've got a lot of players with a lot of pride. And now, it's put up or shut up. And there's a lot of guys on there that aren't used to being 0-3, and now let's see if they're going to come out fighting. And I think they will. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll earn their respect back. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, 8-8 is going to be a stretch this year.
I knew he was thinking a losing season. I had that inkling. But here, if Todd Haley is still in there for this year, he's going to be a scapegoat unless he lets Big Ben loose, like everybody's saying. Because think about it. They're not blocking. They're not tackling.
And just to
They're
speak
gonna
to
have
that
to.
point, Ben threw for over 400 yards on Sunday night. And let me tell you about another Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback that used to throw quite a
Tommy
bit.
Gunn.
Tommy Gunn Maddox. And at that team, they weren't going anywhere either, because I tell you what, the Steeler teams that do well have Ben throwing 20 to 25 times a game maximum, okay, and they're rushing for 100 yards. If a Steelers football team is throwing the ball 40 times, they're going to be losing more often than not.
Good point. Good point.
Except for one thing. Football has changed even more than when Tommy Gunn was there. And we don't have a lot of that talent there. And we do have some receivers, if they give them the ball, they can catch it. Look at Antonio Brown there. His crying, it worked tremendously. Anybody can cry like a baby like that and get 196 yards?
Well, you know what?
Is that
want
what he
him.
ended up with?
I think he
Wow.
had it.
196 yards, 9 catches, 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
I was listening to James Lofton prior to the game.
Great
Somebody
receiver.
interviewed him,
Great receiver.
and he said, one of the problems that he saw with the Steelers receivers, he goes, you go look at a lot of these teams, they've got that big guy that's 6'4", 4.3 speed, and you look at the Steelers receivers, and they're all the same receiver.
Cookie cutter.
Look at them all. They're 6 foot tall, 190 pounds.
Good
You
point.
don't have that big guy that's 230 that runs like a gazelle, like a Larry Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
Megatron,
Right. Good
AJ
point.
Green or something like
point.
that. And those guys are game changers because you can't get a defensive back to match up with them.
Right.
They're going against defensive backs that are their size, and no disrespect to Antonio Brown, but he's a number 2 receiver at best. And he's a number 2 playing the number 1 position. And you've got Emmanuel Sanders, who's a 3 or a 4, being your number 2 receiver. So you've got guys that, they've got stepped up in the roles that I don't think they're ready to handle.
Good point.
Oh, when you don't have people playing up to their capabilities, too. and
Well,
all
that's
those
where,
things.
as much as we disliked and badmouthed Mike Wallace last year, they really, really miss him because he was their home run hitter, and he was the one that stretched the field.
Yeah.
And, he's the one that allowed Antonio Brown to become an All-Pro 2 years ago and team MVP.
And he helped Dwyer get that 500 and some yards to lead the team because they weren't throwing to Mike Wallace because he had that disease, that alligator arm disease. And that was the reason. He was a decoy, and he was crying about it, but he wouldn't stretch out. And, thank goodness he did make the millions because it worked out for him.
Yeah,
There's another thing. He
yeah.
used the system, and it worked out perfectly
Yeah,
for him.
look at the Dolphins. They're 3-0.
Exactly. Look at Chicago, 3-0. Hey, let's go to some Pitt talk. We got Pitt's homecoming coming up this weekend. And do you think they can keep going on and winning now, Chip, here with the ACC? Because I think that was just an aberration last week. 58 points.
I think they've got some real talent. I think this kid that quarterback, this Tony Savage, it's a shame they've only got him as a fifth-year senior, redshirt senior. The kid's got a cannon for an arm.
Savage.
From what I understand, and I know this is going to hurt Jim, but Tyler Boyd is really an explosive athlete. I think he's going to make the national news pretty soon. But you know what? If Pitt doesn't learn how to play defense, they got the same disease as the West Virginia Mountaineers, and
No
D. I mean, you can't turn these into track meets. And so far, they've played 2 games in the ACC, and they've given up close to 90 points in those 2 games, and that's not the recipe for success.
Very true.
Could set an ACC record though.
Yes, they did with points.
Most points given up for a season. That'd be nice. That's a goal.
And if they don't get a winning record after that, what will that be? But hey, at least they had their moment of glory. They got all these players of the week. Tyler Boyd, what a game he had again. I mean, he's
the young man, the running back. His name's Connor. He's making a nice name for himself. They've got some talent, but they got to stop people from scoring if they want to win football games.
Well, we'll see what happens at homecoming this Saturday here. And then I heard some Penn State news that Penn State is doing so well. They're going to get 5 more scholarships this year and next year and the year after.
Yeah.
And they may even get a chance where they can start to play in the postseason a little bit early.
I think they're dangling a carrot there, but still,
with good reason.
But seriously, though, Penn State has complied so well and has gone so far in changing the culture of the athletic department up there that they're being recognized, and some of the sanctions are being
and their president and all the other guys that got indicted.
Well, all the other guys that are they're under indictment and getting ready to go to court. I mean, they're out of the mix. Yeah, they're out of the mix. But that just shows you the
you can't play it the right way.
Penn State's coach, that guy's doing it right up there.
O'Brien.
He's running the organization right, and I tell you what, Penn State's got a good football team.
Yeah, winning with paternal players.
That's why we like Smoking Jim. He's a history man in sports. He doesn't miss anything. I think we still have Cower's team, and they're losing. Like when Cower left, they were 8-8. So you know what? This is called reverting back to the mean. Smoking Jim. They talk about investments, that what goes up comes down. Well, with these players that were Cower's players, now they're coming back to 8-8 again. They did that last year, so you may be right. And I haven't heard the phrase, and I put this on our Pittsburgh Sportsline Facebook, the rubber hasn't met the road this year.
Wow.
So does that mean that we're not winning?
Wow.
Because that used to happen a lot. All these little cliches, I want to see coaching. Because I can throw them out too, and we got to produce. That's the bottom line.
Listening to what they said, what was one Bill Cower's famous lines? You're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you seem.
He stole that off of somebody, even that Smoking Jim's hero. Somebody else said that before. And we're getting ready to wrap it up. We got about a minute or less, and
do our picks.
Yeah, let's do your picks right now, and as
quick
as we can.
So for the season, Jim, pick number between 1 and 15.
2.
2 and what else?
And 11.
Okay, and Alan.
High school and college numbers.
I'll do 3 and 7.
3 and 7.
And Chip,
and I'll take 5 and 12. Okay.
Make it quick. We're running out of time, folks.
Okay,
we only got 30 seconds. Thanks for watching
Jim,
the show.
Philadelphia, Denver.
Denver.
Okay, you've also got Baltimore at Buffalo.
Baltimore.
Okay, Alan, you got Cincinnati at Cleveland.
Cincinnati.
Okay, you've also got Arizona at Tampa Bay.
Arizona.
All right.
Okay, I've got the Giants at Kansas City. I'll take Kansas City. I'll also take the Dallas Cowboys over the San Diego Chargers.
Good night, folks. Thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. Thank you.